I am at a delivery and I have to check in. I'm probably going to check in about 30 or 40 minutes here. And I decided I was looking at some of the videos and photos that I shot when I was abroad in the Dominican Republic. And I was thinking about back on, some of the people that I met later on in my stay. And being back here, my demeanor has changed quite a bit, towards the world, and in a good way. Most people, well, I don't even want to say most people. I don't want to say that. That's way too broad. I don't want to superimpose my experience on everyone else's experience. I found it quite humbling to live amongst the locals. And I gradually started to realize how I've become dependent on so many things that you don't really need to exist at all. Off resort, one of the things that you find is that there is a plethora of fruits and vegetables that you can buy for quite an affordable price. One of the things that I actually got into quite a bit is eating sugarcane, which you can buy cheap if you find someone who's selling it, and if it's in season. You can buy sugarcane for 50 pesos, so a little less than $1, maybe 85 cents. You can get yourself, a bag of sugarcane, and it's a lot different than eating the processed sugar that we eat here. Refined sugar, I think, is what it's called. Eating is a little bit different, though. You kind of have to chew it, and you chew the actual cane, and like the juice comes out, as you chew it, and you have to spit out the remainder. You can't eat that, but it can give you like a nice little energy boost. It's a nice alternative to like coffee. Hey there, hi. Said hi. Appreciate you guys saying hi. How you guys doing today? Okay, all right. I don't know what mud means. What does that mean? Is that like a youthful term? Somebody said the term 6'7" the other day. I don't know. I'm not like major into TikTok, but how you guys doing? So I really enjoyed like sugarcane. I thought that was really interesting, and it's a great alternative to refined sugar. Very affordable too. The other thing that I got into down there is eating mango, which you can get for where I was staying at. You could buy 2 mangoes for 30 pesos, so it's like 50 cents, and really fresh and healthy. I think the word is saludable. And that's one of the things that, I really got humbled from, because there's a supermarket where I live, and I would go there a lot. But later on in the trip, I would really start going to like the fruit stands and the markets, and just, buying aguacate, avocado, mango, piña, pineapple. All the fruit is like really fresh, and my diet started to change. And I kind of got started to get away from like the processed foods. But the people are, to me, it's amazing, because I'm somebody who is accustomed to air conditioning and having the lights on all the time. Just very wasteful, like American activities, right? Very wasteful, not really being considerate of like how much I'm consuming. So one of the families I met in Barcelona really nice family. I got invited to their home, and it takes about an hour by motorbike if you drive fast, like I drive fast, not over the speed limit fast, but fast, right? So if you do like 80 to 100 kilometers an hour, it takes about an hour. And I would usually try to drive in the evening, which is dangerous and you shouldn't do, but it's really hot in the daytime. It's really hot for me. It was really hot, so I went into it. And I was looking at some of the videos I shot when I was there, and her children. I met this woman's family there. Her children were really nice, and it was a smaller community, and they would like show me all these things and like offer me like all these different types of like vegetables and fruit to eat. Like, oh, you never tried this, you never tried that. Like, you should try it. And I used to go over there and cook. We would take turns cooking, for the kids there. This is in Barcelona. And, I would bring over like my American, like food ideas, funnel cake, New York chopped cheese, and they would like make me more like healthy, like authentic Dominican food, And they lived in a house that had one fan, which actually ended up breaking one day. And the power goes out a lot there. The power goes out a lot. So something that I was really testy about in the beginning, but accepting the fact that it's hot and not consuming much electricity as part of like daily life, there really is. Just living, off the land and what you have. Someone says cooking meth. Wow, I don't know why you would even mention that or think about cooking meth, but no, we're not talking about cooking meth. Yeah, I can cook a little bit. Yeah, it is hot if the fan doesn't work, and that's basically what I'm talking about, is that a lot of the time that I spent there, I was slowly deprogramming myself from American comforts, something that Dominican people, naturally are accustomed to. It's hot there. It's a jungle, and people really know how to survive off of the land. If you don't have anything to eat, you just ask your neighbor to, you grab like a plumbing tube, like, and you reach up into the tree and you just kind of wrap it around the mango and you give it and it just falls down. You just ask your neighbor for something to eat, a mango or something, And I slowly started to accustom to that, and that's why I say, like, if you go there and if you're looking to live somewhere abroad for like retirement, or if you're thinking about living outside the country, I hope you take some time to really live the local lifestyle, because I learned a lot from the people there. And I was also extremely rude at times too, because it takes time for you to leave the comforts that we have here. Like, so right now I'm in a semi truck, right? I'm in a semi truck. This semi truck has all kinds of lights, has heat, air conditioning, got a TV over here. It's got, all the bells and whistles, right? So even here, it's like living in an RV, very comfortable. You have all these things. And I was just amazed at how everyone was so well adept to like the power going out or not having anything to eat. The kids would just go outside and, go to an almond tree and, just grab some almonds, And I really started to adjust and realize, how little money you need to live there. And I'm sure it's like this in other countries too, if you're willing to accept the challenge of just living with what God provides, And the people there were so well versed at it, and I almost became like envious, because like I was someone who would be complacent. I'm like, oh, I don't want to come over there because there's no air conditioning, and I'm hot. And, just really complaining about things, like an American, like an American does, complaining and griping about everything. And I started to realize, if I am to live, outside of the United States when I'm older and, possibly ready to retire, that, it's important to accept the culture. I think the expression is, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And I started to adjust to it. I started to get into it, but not fully. But I definitely see how, if you're not someone who has a lot of money, or you're not really too concerned about status, and you really just want to connect with the world and the people and just be one with the earth, there's really something transcendent in that. It makes you feel like you're connected with, like, the community, when you go through the same issues that everyone else goes through, and I'm running through all these videos and photos, and I'm trying to put something together, to start posting or put up, or maybe make like a video documentary that I could, sell some of the videos, or, just charge a little bit, or maybe put on Patreon. But it's really interesting, to come back to the United States and see that. And even now, like, I implement it, like, I have rice here, and I have a rice maker in the truck, and sometimes I just have bread and peanut butter. I still buy lemon, avocado now, beets, which they don't, I don't think they have beets there, but I actually like beets. Mango I still buy. And, like, I've learned, to live with a lot less, because, things are costly here in the United States. It costs money. And if you really, like, get into fruits and vegetables, and you understand, like, what you like, and you get used to, like, living off of that, like, you actually feel a lot better. And you save a lot of money too. You save a lot of money. And I remember one day there, I'd rode over on the Pasola on the motorbike, and I was a little hot. And the mother in this family, she told me, she's like, well, we'll just go in, go in one of her kids' rooms and just lay down. And I was looking up at the fan, and I was just thinking, like, wow, could I live like this? Could I live like this? In a house, there's no fan, there's no air conditioning. The neighbors are very close. You can hear the neighbor's house next door. There's no running water. You got to go, fetch the water out of a pail, and you can either pour it over your head, or, really just, basic lifestyle. And it was uncomfortable because I'm American, right? So it's uncomfortable, but when you see other people do it, you want to, like, try it and get into it as well. And I'm glad I got the opportunity to do that there. And she has a very nice family. She's a very hard worker too. And we were thinking about, she has her own business too. She runs her own business. She sells food. But, like, her kids were so, like, kind. And I remember one time I said something, like, really rude, like a typical American would, really rude. And I felt bad about that, but it was because I was uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable. And that's why I'm making this video about, like, humbling yourself. If you do go travel overseas, really try to experience life the way that the people of that country experience. Lower class or poor people. I'm not saying, like, educated or uneducated people, just, the lifestyle, the way that it's lived by the general population. And you'll probably find it difficult, like I did too, but there's something about feeling just part of the community, because, like, you go through the same thing. one of the members of our family is actually a rapper. He's on YouTube too, and he's actually pretty funny. He's pretty popular. I shot a music video for him while we were there. Really cool guy. Kenji, I don't know if he's watching this, but Phil Kenji's pretty talented. He's a talented guy. And, we were talking about music and, creativity. And I wish I had more time to stay. This is really later on in my trip. But I just remember how, like, everyone made me feel so welcome with just, like, their smiles. And, like, two of her children would always run up to me and, I'm not going to say their names. One of them was a younger girl. They would always run up and, like, hug me around the waist. And one of her younger sons used to do it, too. And they were, like, just so kind and, like, so happy. And just at peace, with the world that they were in and the world that they lived in, not knowing what, like, the westernized, like, modern society is like, just comfortable in their surroundings. Hey, everybody, I appreciate all you guys saying hi. Thanks, I appreciate that. Everyone down there saying hi, I appreciate that. And, that was one of the strongest scenarios that I was in where I really, had to humble myself and not think of the world in terms of, like, status or money, and just, like, understanding from, like, a community standpoint. Like, I needed to be part of the lifestyle to experience the joy and the connectivity and, like, the family of being there. The things that we take for granted in the United States. We do. We bury ourselves in our cell phones and our data plans and our social media and what car we drive, and, oh, I can't talk right now, I gotta get gas. I'm from New York. So New Yorkers talk real fast, we ain't got time for nobody. I'm used to that. We don't have time for anybody. And just having, like, that time to just sit down, no entertainment, no TV, no phone. And, just, you hear the kids laughing and giggling and playing. The preparation time it takes to, to prepare, to cook, chopping up vegetables and fruit, and, having that one pan, propane fryer too. A lot of people in the Dominican Republic cook with propane tanks. And it's just really humbling, and it brings a lot of inner peace if you're willing to, like, accept it and see the world from, that perspective of just being one with the people around you and God and, like, the environment, and, the environment being, like, your provider. We don't really do that here in the United States. We go to the supermarket and we need our gasoline and our chargers for our cars and our phones, but there, money is in some parts really just non-existent. It's just a commodity that you come across every now and then when you need to buy something, and this is one of the experiences that really just kind of started to open up my mind to, like, having, like, the inner peace, and just being happy with the way that your life is. In America, many of us are always, like, chasing something or trying to buy the next thing or obtain something that, maybe not really be aligned with, like, who we are, and just finding that comfort in sitting there and just being, one with the way things are. I remember a couple of her, like, middle-aged children, one day I came over and they're like, hey, let's go to the beach. And, I asked, their parents, like, hey, kids want to go to the beach, can we go? And they're like, hey, you can take them to the beach. So, like, three kids, hop on the back of the motorbike with me. And they show me the way to go. It's a gravel road, go past, like, a landfill, over some railroad tracks, and then I got to start walking the motorbike, to get out there. And it's not like an American beach. It's like a little rocky, and there's a lot of seaweed and stuff like that. Kids jumped right in there, man. They were just having a ball, man, just loving it. And I was out there doing my burpees and my jumping jacks like I usually do, because there's not much to do out there if you're an American. So like you find time to exercise. And a lot of Dominicans do exercise. Actually, it's really popular, especially like 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning. I'll talk about that another time. But just like the simple enjoyments of like day-to-day life that a lot of us take for granted here, because our schedules are so full. Our time schedules are, just loaded with things to do. And just to see that enjoyment, the happiness, it really helps with just like shedding. Even as I'm back in the United States now, like just shedding that outside layer of yourself that is like closed off to the world, not accepting your life for the way it is, wanting to strive to do more when you already have everything, like God already gave you everything. Once you see the world in that way, it really brings peace, to yourself. And I hope any of you, who do get to travel outside of the United States, or if you do, I hope you get to have like a more authentic experience wherever you may go. And I hope it betters you. You know what I mean? I really do. I hope it betters you as a person, because America can make you crazy just trying to keep up. And the biggest takeaway I got from a lot of the experiences I had with people there is that you actually have enough. You really do. You're born into this world with enough. You have enough. You do. If you're just willing to accept that, you are a member of, the planet. You're a member of society. And people will accept you for who you are if you can accept the world the way that it is. And I'm really thankful for that experience that I got from a lot of people, and particularly that family in Barcelona, who are very kind to me. They were very kind to me. And, if I ever get to go back to the island one day, maybe I'll go out there and visit. But, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit for all of you. And, just something to take away. Be a little bit more grateful for the things that you have, especially those of you who watch this and live in the United States, because, poor here is, extremely wealthy in other parts of the world. I used to talk to my friend on the phone back in the day, and I had read online somewhere how, like, I think, I don't know his first name, but like Rockefeller was like a really, really wealthy person in like the 20s and 30s, 1920s, 1930s. And at like the height of his wealth, like whatever Rockefeller had, like you have more than that now in 2025 as like a completely poor person. Like Rockefeller didn't have a cell phone, he didn't have air conditioning, he might have had electricity. If he had a car, it's nothing compared to what, we have today. I'm sure whatever, beater you got would destroy whatever Rockefeller was rolling around in, you know what I mean? So like you think about it in that sense, like we have so much, and in the United States we're always like comparing to like what the other person has. But really, what you have, you're probably like a multi-millionaire in someone else's eyes, in another part of the world. So just be more grateful for what you have, even the simple things, the fact that you can breathe, whether the clothes you have, the fact that if you got hair on your head, if you don't got hair, maybe, you're in good shape, you got your vision, I almost lost my vision. Just be thankful for what you got, really be appreciative of what you got, and, try to connect with and rely on, Mother Earth every now and again, because a lot of people live their lives that way. They do. And they're totally happy with it. And, the thing that always gets me upset is that, a lot of people here seem to be, preoccupied with their daily conundrums. And, you know, people get into little altercations and skirmishes here, and it's like, for what, you know? You know, you'll go overseas and you'll see people just totally happy with like having like absolutely nothing in comparison to what we have here, and just totally happy and satisfied, you know? So I'll talk about all this stuff more. Just wanted to make a live real quick, and I appreciate all you guys that watch. You guys know I'm just here sharing stories. Back at work in the United States, and you know, very, very happy to have this channel, and for the people who do watch, I'm very happy. And I'm gonna go check in for my delivery now. And thanks for watching. Thanks for all the comments, everybody. Hope you all are safe, and I'll talk to you all soon. All right, bye bye.